Hi, I'm Doug from MESH, the renewable energy consultancy. Part O building regulations apply to all new residential buildings, from student accommodation to detached houses and everything in between. As such, it's important that you, 1, understand overheating regulations, and 2, understand how you can ensure that your new building complies with thermal regulation specifications. Remember, you must satisfy particular requirements in order to gain planning approval, so this is a really crucial area. There are 2 ways to demonstrate your building's compliance with Part O regulations: a simplified method or the dynamic thermal modelling route, which is based on SIBS's TM59 design methodology. A simplified methodology is tried and tested formula in many sectors, with similar approaches being used in accounting and geometry. The rationale in Part O is very much the same. It's a catch-all approach that provides a substantial yet straightforward method for understanding compliance. The simplified method focuses on limiting solar gain and maximising natural ventilation potential through factors such as window size and building design. The methodology is split up into 3 stages, with stage 1 asking key questions about the building question. For instance, is the building location in a risk area? Does the building offer adequate airflow through cross-ventilation? Stage 2 looks at calculations around glazing, with a particular focus on the southern, eastern and western facing facades of the building. The data required is the window dimensions and apertures, which should allow the designer to understand the total glazed area of the building and whether that exceeds the limits based on the building's floor area and orientation. For buildings that are in high-risk locations, designers are required to include shading for some glazed areas, which can be provided by external shutters with ventilation, high-performance glazing, 50-degree overhangs and internal blinds. Despite this being a simplified method, there are some pretty specific numbers and requirements to be aware of in stage 2, so be sure to pay careful attention to the regulations. You can see these in full in our downloadable Part O guide, which is linked in the video description. This stage simply looks at openable windows and whether they're sufficient to remove excess heat from the building. Buildings without adequate cross-ventilation will be penalised here, with the minimum allowable free area being higher, and once again, whether the building is medium or high risk will affect your calculations. The pros and cons of the simplified method: well, the obvious pro is that it's more simple by design, but it also presents cost savings thanks to its straightforward approach and removing the need for specialist software or experienced modelers. However, we are presented with several cons, and they relate specifically to the building type. The simplified method is not suitable for the following types of building: a building with multiple residences that share hot water and heating systems, buildings where noise and pollution may present a balancing act with natural ventilation, and buildings where the security and safety of occupants could be compromised by open windows. The simplified method also doesn't present a sustainable solution for buildings where shading is provided by other buildings in their vicinity. Ultimately, while the simplified method is an effective route to Part O compliance, it can place heavy restrictions on the design choices, which is certainly worth keeping in mind if your build is somewhat unconventional. By using dynamic thermal modelling, designers can create a digital twin of the building using existing methodologies as outlined by SIBS in TM59. This well-established set of standards will help you to provide a thoroughly detailed assessment, as long as you have access to the correct software and expertise. With your unique data inputs combined with climate modelling from 2010 through to 2040, the digital model can quickly demonstrate its compliance or lack of. In fact, you can even see hour-by-hour detail and how long a room may overheat in any given time period. The true power of dynamic modelling appears in more complex cases, such as multiple residences or high-risk buildings. As you can imagine, apartment blocks with multiple floors and multiple window sizes at varied orientations could present a great deal of complexity and maybe even inaccuracy under the simplified method. The dynamic method presents the opportunity for greater flexibility. Micro adjustments can be made with ease thanks to the use of software, with no need to recalculate entire rooms or buildings from changing just one opening. This provides what we can call an engineered solution rather than a simplified solution, which promises a greater likelihood of compliance. However, the dynamic method will be a more costly approach, with the need for specialist software and expertise. And with more parties involved, it creates a longer chain and ultimately a more complicated approval process. We understand the nuances of Part O regulations as well as its complementing approved documents. We're well versed in all and every aspect of building regulations, particularly when it comes to sustainability, thermal comfort, and maximising your chances of planning approval. Our building performance team work on residential and commercial building projects of all shapes and sizes, so our experience in the field is second to none. In working with Mesh, you'll be paired with a single point of contact who will guide you through the entire regulatory process and whatever else you need to ensure that your building is a leading example of a more sustainable built environment. If you're looking for a specialist with deep, comprehensive knowledge and expertise, let's talk. We'd love to hear about your project. Thanks for watching.